guys. A lot of people ask me why I do a low carb diet and they think it's so restrictive and everything. And I do eat carbs as well sometimes. I just restrict them. So, say from like I could have 2 weeks where I do low carb, but I also could have 5 days and then I might have some carbs at the weekend. But I don't really kind of have a schedule as such, but I definitely try to stick to the 5 days of low carb. But I do intermittent fasting as well, which I'm always trying to keep my insulin down. So it really, for me, is all about insulin. It's all about keeping the insulin down. Somebody asked me the other day, like, are you doing this for health or for weight loss? And when you started, did you do it for health or weight loss? And I had to stop and think, did I do it for health and weight loss? And it was both and it was both. But I didn't really, it was health. There was a panic at the start because I was saying in my previous videos, I had this very bad pain. I put on a lot of weight fast, particularly belly fat, I was like driving a lot for work. I put on a lot of weight really, really rapidly. I think some of it was probably like puffy water weight, but I didn't know that at the time. It was really uncomfortable. A lot of belly fat, a really bad pain under my left rib, and that was really the driver. And that was going on for about 2 months, maybe, yeah, about 2 months. And I actually discovered keto early on in that during that pain. I was like, I have to do something. I've been on other diets. I was never one for being massively overweight, but I was always, like a lot of women, I was always kind of struggling with my weight from, I'd say, my early 20s. Like maybe, and sometimes when I look back to photographs, I go, God, I wasn't even fat at all. But you know the way you kind of have this view of yourself and you're always trying one diet or another, or you're trying low fat or whatever. So I was always doing some little bit. I actually never did Weight Watchers or Slimming World, but I did similar, and I did motivation weight management, and they work. They work. They're so good. I went to the gym. They work. The gym is a massive commitment. The gym is brilliant. You do feel amazing. I would say to anybody, like if you live near a gym, like there was a personal trainer in our gym, and he would take 5 or 6 of us. He would literally make us go around to the different bits and pieces, and it was great. It's really motivating. But I had to drive to the gym, then get into the gym, then do my session, then come home, go do all my other bits. So it became too and then I had a slightly a low carb diet as well, but it wasn't keto, it was low carb. So I had done all this and I was like, every time it happens, I'm yo-yoing back in. I feel like I have no control, no power. I feel like I'm always having to watch every moment of every day. I have to supervise what I'm doing, what I'm eating, how much exercise I'm getting, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, this cannot be right. It cannot be right that humans are designed to be innately fat. Um, and it's hard to avoid all these beautiful foods. So I didn't really understand about fat storage. I didn't understand. What I saw later on was I didn't understand about fat storage and that it has all to do with insulin. So yes, immediately it was probably health was probably my initial driver, and the weight loss was a bonus. So I knew about keto, and I was like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Who would do that stupid diet? Of course, you're going to get a heart attack from eating eggs and bacon and beef, and yeah, there's lots of vegetables. There's different types of keto. I would be very much. I'm a kind of a vegetarian keto, but then if I have a steak, I am all in for the steak. I'm all in for the beef. So I kind of eat everything. Um, but I don't really like the extremes on either side. There are extremes, and I don't really buy into that. I think we live in the real world. We live in a carb-filled world where I'm going to have to survive out there, and sometimes I'm not going to have what I want to have. So I can cope with that. But the thing was the ultimate thing of not always being effing fucking starving. Like that was the problem. Every time I was on one of these diets, it was like fucking starving, fucking starving, fucking starving. And I was controlling that all the time. I was always looking forward to the next meal, and everything was about the next meal, the limited quantity, the turkey rashers, blah blah blah. So with keto, the reason I tried it was because the health part made sense from everything that I had read, everything that I had looked at, and also there were guys doctors that were not keto that I was reading, Metabolical, Dr. Lustig, Dr. Seyfried, in other areas that I was interested in, cancer prevention, um, understanding what are happening with the organs, Dr. Lustig, Dr. Hyman, who initially I disregarded him for a long time because I thought he was some fucking ranter. Um, Dr. Mark Hyman, amazing, incredible guy, very vegetarian type keto. I don't follow specifically his thing. I kind of made up my own, which is why I call it Kate's Keto. But um, it was health probably initially, and then the weight part. I mean, obviously, I'm a woman. I don't want to be fat. I definitely don't want a fat belly. And it was very uncomfortable. All my clothes were really tight. And then I had to buy a new set of clothes. Everything was stretchy. And then it was like basically putting on more weight and stretching into the stretchy stuff and just getting bigger. Until one day I did take a photograph of myself, which I will not share here. And it was so bad. And I knew I was on the cusp of obesity. And I said to myself, I have to do something. But it was really this pain under the rib. I definitely knew I had a hernia. And for some reason, I believed I could heal it myself without knowing that maybe I could. So, but my certain feeling was that I would go to the doctor, be sent to a consultant. The consultant would get out his roll of mesh, put me under the knife, put in the mesh, and the blob, the jiggly wiggly over there would eventually come out over here. So I had this certain notion. I just knew. I said, that is not the answer. And even though the fat per se was not my driver, it was just the pain. I could not move. I was sitting like this. I couldn't move. I was driving a lot for work. I was eating a lot of, pastries, which I didn't think were unhealthy. Pastry and a coffee. I didn't think that was unhealthy. And there was a lot of stress. There's a lot of stress when you're driving. There's a lot of stress unless you have managed your diet. So later on, when I started to understand, in the beginning, I'm over a year now on keto, more than a year. I did not understand about insulin. I was like, what are these boys ranting on about? But the drip was coming. The drip of understanding was coming. And it really is only in recent times when about 8 months before that, I had seen Dr. Ben Bikman a few times. He's not a medical doctor, but he's a research doctor. He wrote Why We Get Sick. He's recently released a new book, How to Avoid Getting Sick or something. I would recommend anybody to get it. I haven't got it yet. It was released on the 11th of July. Dr. Benjamin Bikman. He has a PhD and he never really intended to go into this area, but he became kind of obsessed about insulin resistant and leaky gut and all this. And he was on the fringes of the information that I was taking in. I did get his book out of the library. Actually, I had to request it. But you can get all of these books. It's brilliant in the library for free. And I have bought some of the books. So I was reading. I think that's the good thing about me is that I didn't just go for the keto people. I started looking at a whole lot of other people who are circling on the edges of keto, and keto offers a lot of the answers to the problems that they pose in their research, like Dr. Thomas Seyfried, Dr. Robert Lustig, Dr. Benjamin Bikman. They don't necessarily promote keto per se, and they're not obsessively carnivore or whatever. Dr. Ken Berry's amazing doctor. He has become sometimes a little bit obsessively carnivore, which I particularly don't like, but he's an incredible doctor, and he wrote an incredible book called Lies Your Doctors Told You, or whatever. He's a GP or a family physician over in America. So he's an incredible guy. He has gotten increasingly carnivore. He started off kind of keto. And that's fine. But I don't really like these extremists. I just think, listen, I have kids. We live in the real world. I'm a big kid myself sometimes. Yesterday I went to Supermax, which is an incredible fast food restaurant in Ireland. And I had taco loaded fries because I was waiting for the bus. And it was lovely, Obviously, I could feel the sugar rush afterwards. Now that my body is so insulin sensitive, which is incredible. It's so wonderful to know how to control my weight without having to watch my food intake at all. So I sat there having my taco fries, and I knew that the sugar spike. I don't wear a CGM, but I didn't need to wear one. I don't need to wear one. I do want to get one. I'm going to get. I'm asking Santi for that. But I could feel it after about 5 or 10 minutes. I could feel the little sugar rising. And I instinctively knew that after this sugar rush, because I have so much knowledge now, that the insulin was going to. Now, I can't say that my insulin was spiking, but obviously, because the sugar is going up, insulin starts to rise a little bit after the sugar. It's the insulin that's the fat store. Insulin is a fantastic hormone, it is absolutely essential for life. It is our energy management hormone. Don't let anybody tell you that insulin is the problem. Some doctors will describe insulin as the problem. What they mean is that the problem is you're spiking your insulin too often and you have hyperinsulinemia, which is causing your obesity, your fat, your overfat, your obesity, because after it has managed the glucose that you need, which is not very much because most of us are carrying so much bloody fat, it is then going to manage the excess glucose and push it into your adipose tissue, your fat storage tissue. And it will start with the inside, which is why you have skinny fat. You have people that are skinny, but they have the fat on the inside, which is visceral fat, not a good fat to have too much of. We do need some visceral fat. Don't let anybody tell you we don't need any of this stuff. It's good to have some subcutaneous fat, which is this stuff on the outside, blah, which none of us women like. But it's good to have a little bit of that for a bit of, padding if I fall on the ground. A little bit of fat. And that fat is actually pretty much metabolically innocuous. It's not threatening in any way because it's on the outside. It's that white jiggly fat. Then on the inside, we have this visceral fat that is stored around our organs. And we need a little bit of that too. You don't want your organs flapping about with nothing to support them. So it's okay. That visceral fat in the right amounts is basically our brown stored fat that we use in times of famine. It's our first pocket of storage. After that, then when there's too much visceral fat and it starts spilling out through our belly, which is usually the first sign of danger. If you can't afford any blood tests or anything, if someone has a pot belly, they probably have a fatty liver, which is not good. And they probably have a lot of too much visceral fat, because that's where it starts spilling out first. It's the soft bit under which is what was happening to me. That visceral fat had gotten so much inside there and was spilling out in my belly, so I couldn't see my toes anymore. And it was after puckering out there somewhere, some jiggly orangey brown stuff was after coming out under my rib probably and poking out. I never got that seam to, and the pain went away and never came back. But when I put on more than 20 pounds above my normal weight, should be 154. At the moment, I'm 178 because I'm doing a lot of sitting at work. And I have kind of gotten a bit, the weather hasn't been great. I'm blaming the weather. But I've put on a bit of weight because it's the summer as well. There's a little bit more relaxed. I've had a few bottles of wine over the summer and, had a few, not pizzas, but taco fries yesterday, maybe McDonald's with the kids. You kind of, do things in the summer you wouldn't normally do. And I know my weight has gone up a little bit, but I do not care. I don't worry. I'm about 25 pounds, 24 pounds more than I should be. But your body always wants to keep a little bit. That's what I love about the ketogenic diet and anything kind of low carb diet, is your body actually will not get very, very skinny, because it doesn't want you to be very skinny, because your body is so clever. It will actually reduce what you need, even though you might be doing the same level of exercise. It will get clever and clever and clever to store a little bit of fat, so that if there is a starvation time, your body is always prepared for the worst. So you don't ever need to worry about fat storage for your body. I don't ever need to be 154, which I have been on other diets when I didn't realize I was probably losing muscle mass. But it's not. You got to go through these. It's better that I did those diets. It's better that you do those diets than not. So I'm not disregarding those because they're brilliant. All of that stuff is brilliant. anything that gets your body into a metabolically healthy state is brilliant. And if you want to spend the money on some of those diets, do it. If I had had the money back when I did the motivation weight management, I would have continued with it because it was a really effective, brilliant diet. So, but it was very expensive to maintain. But and having a personal kind of person that you go to every week is brilliant. So I would, if you have the money, do it because it's better to be metabolically healthy, regardless of how you get there. I just find keto is fantastic, and so satisfying mentally and physically. And the increase in fat in my diet is phenomenal, phenomenal. I drink a shot of extra virgin olive oil every day. I don't have the really amazing one that Brian Johnson sells or recommends. I use the extra virgin olive oil that I get in supermarkets because I don't have crazy budgets. Um, I just, I want to be able to operate my food bill and food intake via what is accessible to me locally. I don't really want to always have to be ordering stuff online. I want to go to the store and buy the stuff that I can get. Okay, some of it might be slightly lower quality than I might get somewhere else, but you know, this is real life. I want to live in the real world. So I buy the extra virgin olive oil. We're in whatever local supermarket. Some do taste a little bit better than others. When you take a shot of extra virgin olive oil, it's so blah, so bad. And you go, wow, and you feel like you're going to choke. But I feel great. And I take omega-3 cod liver oil, the cheap one. And everybody will, you don't have to spend a lot of money on supplements. I take a good few supplements. I take a multivitamin with iron and minerals. I take electrolytes. I don't take them in an electrolyte sachet. I take potassium, magnesium. I've repeated myself so many times. I have loads of other videos on it. I'll put them in the description. But was it health or was it weight loss? It was probably both at the beginning, but health was definitely slightly ahead. And I think that's probably why I was successful, is that it wasn't just weight, because I could have done another diet if it was just weight, but this was something where I felt it was a serious internal health issue. And I have said in many of my videos, like, I feel like my organs sing to me every morning. And I feel incredible, and I feel my brain health since I started taking the extra virgin olive oil. I also take apple cider vinegar, a shot of apple cider vinegar every day. But since I started taking the extra virgin olive oil, the little shot, I do feel amazingly sharp and just incredible. So yeah, health wins out now, of course. Health wins out now. And like I've said loads of times, like I do have my blood test to prove it. 11 pages of perfection on the inside. So my everything is working brilliantly. My organs are happy, and I'm absolutely happy. So so try and look at your journey from a health point of view. But anyway, I'm going to make more videos. I only intended this video to be 3 minutes long. This is how much rambling I do. Take care. See you soon.